Thanks so much if you are joining a few minutes early. I'm very excited about our presentation today. Let me know in chat, let me get chat open here, where you're logging in from. We get attendees from all over, and I always am curious where you're logging in from. And I will be keeping chat open. So if you have specific questions, I really want to make today about you. So make sure that you post in chat, and I'll be checking chat throughout the presentation today. I see Yvette from Long Beach. Well, we are neighbors. I'm also from Long Beach in Southern California. So yeah, for me, before this presentation, I was sitting outside for a few minutes, a beautiful day. It was great. I was just kind of getting ready, having my last little bit of coffee. So I'm ready to go. Like I said, I'm excited about this presentation today. Anaheim, good morning. Irvine, good morning. Perfect. And we do start at 10 o'clock. I do like to start right on the button. And but that's 10 o'clock my time. Like I said, I'm here in Long Beach, and we get people from all over. From Miami, Florida is just logging in. So welcome. Like I said, that's pretty much all over the country, shore to shore. Oh, and Jerry's logging in from Hawaii. All we need now is somebody from Alaska, and we will have pretty much all of it covered. But so happy to have each and every one of you here today. And we are going to be diving into a lot of the new things. Canva just, oh my gosh, just offered so many new things. So I want to just be able to touch on just a few of them and get you excited. There's so many new things happening. It is just like juggling cats to keep on track with it, but I'm going to share everything that I know as of today with you. See Carol logging from San Diego. Everybody welcome. Let me know if you have any specific questions about what it means to use the different AI tools. Are you diving into Canva? Have you tried any of their new stuff? Because that's everything we'll be talking about today, is really using those tools that can make it easier for you to stay on brand for your business. And like I say, we'll start in just a minute. So I'm definitely want to make today about you. If you have questions as we're going along, or if you have something that you say, hey, what about this? Go ahead and post in chat. Natasha's been using Canva and trying their AI features. That's great. I definitely think that some of their new features are amazing. And I still use ChatGPT all the time. I use the two of them together, and that's what I'm really going to be talking about today. Robert is asking, can we create LinkedIn banners in AI and Canva? Absolutely. What about logos? Logos are its own special category, and I will touch on that. Great question. You have to be careful with what you're using to create a logo. Okay, for me here on the West Coast, it is 10 o'clock. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. As I said earlier, I'm very excited about this presentation today because we're talking about AI and Canva and how the two of them together can really help you build a consistent brand, because this world is changing so rapidly that I want your branding, your look and feel, the voice that you use for your content, that when people see you anywhere online, they recognize you as you. So I think consistency, yes, is a superpower. So using AI, Canva, learning what simple storytelling means really can help you build your business brand. These days, a lot of you are the business, so it's your personal brand. so people can recognize you and remember that. My brand is Harmony 3 Productions, and my name is Ronnie Ramus. I love all the new things that are out there to play with. So my webinars I want to show you those tools and get you excited about them. I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, I'm Ronnie Ramus, and on most other social, I'm under my business name, which is Harmony 3 Productions. Anything visual, that's what we do. That's our playground. So if you have any questions about digital marketing or creating visuals, we're going to be talking about using AI and Canva today, but those are the kind of things I do every day for myself and for my clients. So you have an hour with me, feel free to ask questions. If you want my best tips on a semi-regular basis, you can sign up for my newsletter. You can scan the QR code. You will be getting a copy of the presentation and of the slides themselves. So you can always go back and scan the QR code. But in the newsletter, I try to talk about things that I'm playing with that aren't quite ready for a full webinar yet. So you can be first to know. So welcome. Today, we're talking about making your marketing feel a little more connected and not louder, not more complicated, just more recognizable, more intentional, and more you. As I said earlier, anytime anybody sees anything that you create, whether it's your website, your newsletter, your social media post, your YouTube channel, your blog, whatever it is, I want them to recognize it as you, your brand. So why does this matter now? You know, as a business owner, you're creating, or should be creating, more content than you've ever created across more platforms than ever. And that means that that brand consistency is no longer just a nice extra. We want people to recognize you quickly. So people can spot your business at a glance, instantly, whenever they see anything that you are posting. That familiarity builds credibility and means they're going to trust you faster. More touch points. These days, the amount of touch points that people really need to trust you as a brand is a lot. And that consistency helps stick in their mind. It helps them to remember you later. So the big idea, putting it all together, that a strong brand is not built by just posting more. It's built when your message and your visuals and your very personality start working together so people can spot your business without needing to always see your logo first. So what we're going to cover today is your brand voice with it. And that's not if you're on camera talking, that's how your brand sounds in writing, in visuals. That's your brand voice, and how you can define your voice using AI, and visual consistency, how important that is. And Canva is what really can help to keep your visuals consistent, and how to build a simple, repeatable content plan so that you're not staring at a blank piece of paper all the time going, what should I post? Do I need to post today? And then a few practical demos that you can apply what I'm showing you right away. And we'll talk about what's changing and what's changing right now in AI and Canva. And it's a lot, but I love it. I think it's super exciting. So today's takeaways, by the end of this session, I hope that you are able to at least have the tools so that you can describe your brand voice clearly, create a more consistent visual style using Canva, and use AI to help support your messaging without sounding generic. Because there's so much stuff that sounds the same these days is because people are using AI and they're taking it word for word. I don't want you to do that. I want you to put your own experience and expertise on it. Have it sound like you, have it sound human, and how to build a simple content plan for the next quarter. So, as I said before, I do think that consistency is the new superpower, because consistency does three things. It helps build that brand recognition. People learn to spot you right away. It builds trust, that familiarity. They see the same look and feel and sound from you. It creates confidence that you are a legitimate brand, that you kind of know what you're doing in terms of messaging. And I love this part, it reduces that decision fatigue. So your content's going to get easier to create. When your brand has a familiar look and voice, your content gets easier to create because you don't have to like, oh, maybe I'll do this or maybe I'll do that. You've got a plan in place and it's easier for your audience to connect with. I see somebody saying no audio, but I think everybody else can hear me. If you're having problems with audio, let me know, but you might want to check your own settings because I think we're good with that. All right. So what does consistency actually mean? Well, it doesn't mean boring. I did have somebody in a previous webinar, they said, well, if I have templates and consistent look, isn't it boring? No, your look and feel should be consistent, but your content should be valuable, not boring. It means your business feels connected from one touch point to the next. But what changes is your content, and it should be geared toward your audience, things that are helpful or entertaining to them. And that's your social post, your email, your presentations, your website visuals, your thumbnails for your videos, captions for all of your videos. Absolutely have captions, and your lead magnets. These are things that you are creating, your funnels to get people to whatever it is you want them to do. Sign up for your newsletter, come to your webinar, buy this, subscribe to that. All of that should ring true to what your brand sounds and looks like. Okay, I do see other people saying we're good with sound. So yeah, you might want to check. Okay, just got a thumbs up on that. Perfect. Okay, your brand is more than a logo. So your brand includes that voice and personality of your brand. This is not just how you talk, right? This is your brand has its own voice and personality. So it's the voice, the tone, the message, and the themes that you are consistent with. And how do you explain what you do? And what do people feel when they interact with you? And your visual personality, your visual identity are your colors and your fonts and your image style and your layout style. All should have that consistent look. Somebody's saying they like the visuals. Visuals are getting easier to create using AI and Canva. And this is a perfect example, and I do love to lead by example. So I asked ChatGPT to make an image that another AI Gamma had created that was kind of looked like this, but it was generic. And I said, I'm talking about branding, put my brand on there. So using the prompts that I always use, because I think I have a mid-century style, my logo, everything reflects that. I wanted that look in the visual. So that's a perfect example of your look and feel goes through everything that you create. All right. So where most businesses kind of can go adrift a little bit is if you're posting in a hurry, a lot of times you're not going to be really consistent with what you're doing. And if you're using different visuals like every week, right? Or if you change the tone depending on the mood. Now, there definitely are times to change the tone, but if it's just random, then that's not staying consistent with your brand. And this is a big one, letting AI write without guidance. And just what I said before is a perfect example of that. I had an image, I liked the look and feel, it was mid-century, I felt the vibe I wanted, but the guidance was up to me to give AI saying, I want this to reflect my brand. You give it guidance. Don't just take what it gives you word for word or the first visual it gives you, because I want it to reflect you, and you are in the driver's seat at all times with AI. Or what if you're creating one-off content instead of systems? And those are the things that really can make your brand, like I said, drift off just a little bit. So there is new opportunity. These are the tools that we're talking about. So AI can help you move faster. And there's so many different AIs, and that's why I generically say AI, but I am using ChatGPT, and that is what I'm going to show you today, is how I incorporate ChatGPT with Canva. But you could use any large language model or agentic AI to create what we're talking about, but specifically I do use ChatGPT. And then I use it with Canva to make my visuals look really, really polished. But the risk is without direction, just like the example I showed you, fast content just becomes fast inconsistency. So that's why your strategy actually matters more than just the tools. So what's changed recently? Well, Canva has just come out with some amazing new tools and resources. It just keeps expanding its AI and workflow features. So it has tools now like, excuse me, style match, image to video. I'm going to show you some examples. Anytime I create an example for a presentation and my mouth falls open, I know that that's a good tool. So I'm going to show you a couple. And more connected for you to be able to publish it and have design workflows that stay consistent. It also announced design creation and editing directly inside ChatGPT, making your on-brand design conversational. So basically you can link your Canva account to your ChatGPT account and you can talk to it or type, I need a LinkedIn post and I really want to talk about this webinar that have coming up, and make sure that you use my branded colors, and it knows what you're talking about. Unbelievably remarkable. All right, style match. So this is relatively new and it's up in the toolbar, and all you have to do is select like an icon or something that you're working on that you've added some styling to. So the icons that I started with were black with white, and I changed the color on one, and clicking style match, and then I can touch any other icon and it will copy that easily. So the three little dots, whenever you're on an image, you will now see copy style. And also at the toolbar at the top of the whatever design you're working on, you will see that little paint roller. And that just means it copies the style right over to the next thing that you're playing on. So you don't have to like find the color and change it. Super, super easy, very quick little tool there. This is new and this is amazing. Canva now has AI generated videos from a simple prompt. So if you want to add something to your content, whatever it is that you're making, you can go to Elements. Elements is where stock videos, icons, still photos that are in Canva are. But then you can select the magic and type in what you want. So it can do a video from a prompt. So I just as a test said generate B-roll footage. Say you wanted to have a video, and B-roll footage, just a short few seconds. I think this was about 6 seconds of something that would go along with what you're talking about. So that's what we say B-roll. It's not going to generate anybody talking. Now I'm sure at some point it will get that. Great, but right now this is still pretty amazing. I said generate B-roll footage of a flock of green parrots flying in a blue sky. So from nothingness, from just a text prompt, it generated this. That's remarkable to me. All right. Now, that means that image to video and motion content is so easy for you to do now right in Canva itself. It can turn a still image into a short video clip. Such an easy way for you to repurpose visuals that you've already got into more content without having to do another video shoot. You can take one branded still and turn it into a polished social asset. So for example, this is a caricature of me. So using that tool that I just talked about, image to video, you open your design in the Canva editor, right? And then you select the image that you want to turn into a video. So I thought, oh, let's see what it does, because this is brand new and I was experimenting. So in the toolbar, you select edit to open the image panel, and then under Magic Studio, you select the image that you want to turn it into a video. And it did this from a still image. To me, that's remarkable. That's remarkable. And these things are only going to be getting better, but I'm pretty impressed. Then I said, okay, I have a Harmony 3 mug. So that was the first example was from like an illustration. I said, now what if I typed in pour some coffee into the mug? Now this is just a still photo. In fact, it's an AI generated photo, but it's basically a mug with my logo on it. I said, pour some coffee in the mug. What? What? That's amazing. So many ways I can think of that we'll be able to use these for business. All right. The other really new thing that they have, and this is days new, is called magic layers. So this is an image, a flat image. I can't go into Canva and change it. It's just an image. Now clicking on edit and magic layers, I can separate out all of the pieces of this. So I can move those individual pieces that were not there. This is an image. I can move them around. So from this image, I can move those pieces wherever I want. That's really amazing and going to be very, very useful. Somebody's saying, could I have my icon picture actually pick up the branded mug? Maybe, I don't know. I haven't tried that yet. Let's see. Ruth is saying she tried the image to video, but couldn't get it to work. Yes, you probably do need to play around with it a little bit. I did. It really just took me like 2 tries. Like one of them, I got an error message on one. It said it is against our guidelines to have like a real person's face. I don't know. So anyway, that's why I did the icon. And anytime you are working in one of the tools, it'll have some information about it. Always click on that and see what it's saying, especially if it's saying this isn't working. Okay, so now again, Harmony 3 is me. I wanted to see what if I could do from a real picture, right? And move those elements around. So it worked with the little icons, but yes, so I could select me and move it around and move the computer around, and it fills in the places where the originals. It's incredible. It's great. All right. If you want to look at all of the new tools, this is the best place to go. So it's canva.com /newsroom/news. So again, you're going to get a copy of the presentation and the deck, but this is where they're continually upgrade. Every time they come up with something, it'll go to the top here. So you can see that layers just came out that March 9th. So I believe is what it says there. Definitely check that it's Canva, but check their newsroom periodically, because that's the place that you'll see all of the new things. And they typically will have a separate video showing you actually how it works. Oop, okay. All right, so let's see. So I am in Canva right now. And let's see. All right. Oop, and it keeps kicking me out. You got to love technology, but there's always a workaround, which is great too, because then I can kind of show you going into ChatGPT also. All right, let's see if this will work here, if I can present from here. Perfect. Okay. So why are all this stuff exciting for small businesses? Because they reduce that time between I have an idea and, oh, look, there's my idea. It's all done. Now you can brainstorm faster. This is what I use ChatGPT for. You can generate those visuals much faster. I use ChatGPT oftentimes to create the visual, take that into Canva, or you can create your visuals in Canva. And keeping your elements aligned in Canva in your brand kit, absolutely a time saver. Revise those messages at scale. A lot of us have multi touch points that we're going to put the same message on. Do you start with a blog post? Do you start with a LinkedIn article? Do you start with a newsletter? Those are your long form content. Then you get to break that down into little chunks to maybe do a carousel post, a short form video, a long form video. So many ways to repurpose the initial content that you make. And for me, I tend to start every month with a little bit of long form content, break it down so that I'm staying in that lane for that month. Such a time saver. And you can create so much more that way without having to start from scratch every time. So Canva has a lot of those newer workflows built into it, and it's just aimed to make things faster for us, help you stay consistent and move from idea to finished, really with a lot less effort. So your brand voice comes first, before Canva, before AI, before templates. You have to know what your brand voice and what your personality, your brand's personality is behind that message. If your brand voice is unclear, AI is going to fill in the blanks with pretty average marketing language. So what is your brand voice? Your brand voice is your recognizable communication style. It includes things like, is it warm or really polished and professional? Is it playful or really direct and, very professional? Is it expert or conversational? Is it energetic or really calm and reassuring? Is it bold or, again, reassuring and calm? Only you know what your brand's voice is, but you have to let the AIs know what that is. So your brand voice is a little different than the tone. So the voice of your brand is your overall personality, and it's consistent across everything. But tone can vary a little bit based on the moment. A webinar email, right, could be different than a sales page. Definitely different than a thank you note. A social post could be different than a client follow-up. Same brand, little different delivery. And again, if you get like, what would that look like? You can ask AI to give you ideas and examples of that. So how to use ChatGPT to define that brand voice. So I like to give AI, whichever one you're using, as much information about your brand as possible. And they allow you now to have projects, so you can upload all that stuff into your brand project. So everything that it will do for that project has that consistency. Give it some website copy that you've got, social media captions, your bio, your services, descriptions for your services, words you love and words you never would use. The more input that you can give it, the better output it's going to give you. So here's an example of a prompt for that voice. So ChatGPT or whatever AI you're using can understand the voice. Help me define my voice, because you're asking for help. Here's my website. Here's my bio, social content, audio. But you're not just telling it, you're giving it stuff, but you're telling it what you're going to upload. Identify my likely voice traits, repeated themes, vocabulary patterns, and tone. Then create a simple brand voice guide with do's and don'ts, sample phrases, and example captions. Now, why is this important if you're using, for me, ChatGPT all the time? Well, if I'm not using ChatGPT, I want to have all of this, my voice of my brand, in a simple document that I can upload to another AI. So you can share with your team so that everybody knows what that brand voice is. And if they're working on a different AI or their own content that they're creating for your brand, everybody stays on brand by creating this initial brand document. All right, what to ask for? Ask AI for 3 to 5 voice traits. Key phrases that you naturally repeat, maybe words to use more often, and definitely words to avoid. Sample post openings, caption examples, email intro examples, I love that. And this is so important, calls to action in your brand voice. I lost chat here, so let me get chat open again. There we go. Like I said, if you've got questions, I have chat open, I'm watching. So here's a better way to use AI. Don't ask this, write me a post. Try this instead. For example, write me a LinkedIn post in my brand voice. My voice is warm, practical, slightly witty, and never hypey. My audience is small business owners who feel overwhelmed by marketing. Use a strong hook, plain English, and a grounded call to action. So that's pretty much summing up me. And I didn't give it direction to do that. But because I had done that previously, it is such a time saver that it understands who I'm speaking to and my brand, overall brand voice. And you can do this for whatever AI tools you're using. All right. So here's a little guide for building a simple brand voice guide, right? So your brand voice guide could just be one page. You don't have to make it crazy. Just include who you are and who you serve, 3 to 5 voice traits, words you like and ones to avoid, tone examples, give it some sample like call to action language or sample intros, or these could be ready to use opening lines. And this is the stuff that I want you to give the AI so they understand, so that they know you. So when they're generating content, that you stay on brand, and you can actually give it everything you've got and ask it to give it back to you in a single page that you have if you're going to share it for other AI, for other uses. AI needs training, not blind trust. So AI works best when you give it examples. Show it. Visual examples are great. What looks good, what you like. Definitely boundaries. Tell it what to avoid, and preferences. This is your style and your words. And absolutely give it your audience context. Who are you talking to? And give it some good source material that you've already created that you really like. I think of AI as a really smart assistant, but it's not a mind reader. You're still driving here. Now, you've got the AI working with your brand voice so it can give you content that looks and sounds like you and really feels connected. It's an assistant, it's not driving, you're driving. But now Canva is where your brand becomes visible. Once your voice is clearer, Canva can help translate that into a recognizable visual system. This is where your branding becomes easier to repeat. So what does visual consistency look like? Well, it includes your colors and your fonts, a repeatable color palette and font hierarchy. That means, what do you use for headlines? What do you use for body copy, right? Your photos and your layout style. That photo style, your layout rhythm and spacing choices, that has a consistency to it. And what about your icons that you're using and thumbnails for your videos? Those styles, icons and thumbnails, that recurring style again should always represent you, so people see anything from you and recognize it as you. So Canva has a brand kit. Why does that matter? Canva says that its brand kit tools are designed to centralize your logos, your colors, your fonts, and shared assets so your teams can keep design more consistent, or just you as an individual can keep more consistent. And pro users can manage their multiple plans in one place. And I do that. I work for my clients. I have a separate brand kit for each of them in addition to my brand kit. So what does that mean for you as a business owner? It means less hunting around and less, close enough. That's close to my color. It's good. It's orange or pink, but it's not the color. I want you to have the colors every time. All right. Now your brand voice in Canva. Canva also offers brand voice and automated brand setup tools that can help your teams really define and apply those brand guidelines. So Canva definitely is a great tool for teams to help everybody stay consistent if you have multiple people designing for your brand. AI assist in Canva is getting extremely robust. As I said, I still do most of that, creating my brand voice, tone, messaging in ChatGPT, and use Canva for the amazing templates and visuals that you can now create in there. But basically, those two together mean that your words and visuals are starting to live in the same system, especially since Canva is now able to integrate directly with ChatGPT really, that's one cohesive system. All right. So setting up a simple brand system in Canva. So to organize your stuff, you need to have your logo files, your brand colors, your fonts. I like to include like 3 post templates that you can use all the time. And that's what I was saying. People are like, well, won't that be boring? Not necessarily, because you're going to customize it, but you have the elements in there so it still looks like you. Maybe you have one presentation template in there, maybe you have one email header or one thumbnail. And again, keeping you on brand. Consistency gets so much easier when the decisions are made once and then you're just kind of filling in the blanks. So Canva tricks, I think, that help the most. Save your branded colors. Lock in your font pairings. Like you have this for your header and this is what you have for your body copy. If you have templates that you really love, duplicate those, use those consistently. Create content series covers, that first page of a carousel post, the thumbnail for your videos are what people see first. So put some effort into, even if they don't watch the whole thing, if they don't see the whole carousel post, that first image is really important. And build a couple of reusable layout styles and keep one photo treatment style that you like. I worked with a client that every photo that we used had a specific filter application on top of it. We were consistent with that. So even if you're just looking at our photos, it has a specific look and feel to it. And create a folder that you can put all of this in so that you can easily find your stuff in Canva. All right. Now, as I mentioned, you can create with Canva now right inside ChatGPT. You definitely have to give it permission, and anytime you're using anything with AI, read the small print. No, it is for anything that you're using that you didn't generate, whether it's stock images, video, music, using ChatGPT, be your own best advocate for your business. Know what is allowed for businesses, what is just available for personal use. A lot of business owners aren't aware that you do need to be considerate of that. And the way you do that is you read the fine print on any of the platforms that you're using. But Canva now says that you can create and preview and edit designs directly inside ChatGPT, including editing text across full designs by just chatting. And you can use the microphone with ChatGPT and talk away, or you can type it in. And it's especially interesting, I think, for presentation drafts or social media graphics or webinar promo graphics. And for example, on a webinar promo graphic, typically I will have ChatGPT give me ideas for what would make a good graphic. Sometimes I'm not totally happy, but that's you being in charge and being the human. And then I will direct it in better directions. But then I take that into Canva, and to be able to use that seamlessly back and forth, that's a big win for me. And quick variations on a particular theme. And you can make copies and revisions at scale. So for example, if I liked this presentation and I wanted to turn it into a carousel post to maybe put up on LinkedIn, I could select the slides I wanted and turn it into carousel post simply by resizing it because I made the presentation in Canva. All right, so what does this mean for your workflow? So instead of treating writing and design as 2 separate worlds, now you can think of it in a more connected way, anything to save time. You're going to define your message, generate that draft, refine it. And again, don't take what it says, word for word, refine it. That's what makes it you. That's what makes it human. And then apply that consistent brand look to it, and then repurpose across all channels. And when I mean all channels, anywhere your audience is, that's where I want you to be. If your audience is on Facebook and Instagram, maybe they're on TikTok, but they're also on LinkedIn, and they get your newsletter, you need to show up in all of those places. But you don't have to make something new for every one of them. You can use that same content. Maybe for a couple of platforms, you change it a bit, like LinkedIn to TikTok. Yeah, you might, the same message could be super valuable, but you might have to tweak it a little bit. And that becomes knowing what that platform is. And again, AI can help you with that. So from prompts to post, right? You can have ChatGPT generate or draft a short post in your brand voice. Then you can turn that into a Canva graphic or a carousel. And then you can show how to reuse, you can have AI show you how to reuse that idea for LinkedIn, Instagram, email, a presentation, slide, a video script. It can do the heavy lifting for you, but I want you to be the overall pilot of this drive. Okay. All right, I see a question here. You pay for Canva. Do you need a paid subscription for ChatGPT? I'm using the free version. I believe you will need the paid version to do the integration. I can't tell you exactly because I do have the paid version, so I was able to do the integration with that. But if you don't have the integration, I am not using it, the integration myself, even though I have the paid version. And the reason is that I have multiple accounts in Canva, and some are for clients, and I'm just not gonna put all of that into ChatGPT. So, but if you just have your own, you could link it if you want to. But like I said, I'm not even using it. I get the information from ChatGPT, and then I will create the image or webinar or whatever it is in Canva itself. So I still do that manual step, and it's not that big a deal. Okay, something don't forget about is that storytelling, and AI can speed that up, but the human connection that comes from the story. So good brand storytelling is things that you could make posts about. So what do you notice? And we're talking about like in your industry. What do you notice? What makes you an expert? What makes you a trusted authority? What do you believe about where your industry is going, or what do you believe about how you interact with people? What do you do every day for your business? What problems do you solve? You know what maybe the top 10 things that people ask you about your business? Those are problems that you can solve. You probably know 10 more things that would be helpful. What's the experience that you create for your customers, and why does your industry matter right now? Those are all topics that you know something about. You could create a story about that, and you could have ChatGPT help you write that and use that for your content. So story beats just information. So on any of those topics, yeah, you have information, you have bullet points. But if you can weave that somehow into a more human way of saying it, a story, they're much more likely to remember it. You could show a relatable example, or maybe a small transformation, or maybe you have, a client moment that really stands out. Behind the scenes insight, people love behind the scenes. Or maybe you have a strong opinion, clearly expressed, that you know about your industry. These are things that you can think about sharing. You can have ChatGPT help you refine that message, but having it be human is so important these days, because there is a lot of stuff that is obviously generated by AI, and it all kind of sounds the same. So yeah, I use ChatGPT, but yeah, I think my stuff sounds a little more like a human wrote it. All right. So here's a simple content plan for the next quarter, because we're like going into the second quarter here. Keep it manageable and choose 3 content themes. So these are focus areas for your messaging. Then 3 repeatable formats. So these are post types that you can reuse, right? just pick one main platform. And because you're supporting platforms, you're just going to repurpose. And then what about one email touch point rhythm? That's consistent cadence with your emails. And that's something I'm personally trying to work on myself. As I said in the beginning, sign up for my newsletter if you want emails on a semi-regular basis. I need to get back to regular, and I would definitely think that all businesses can benefit from email on a more than semi-regular basis. Once a month is plenty for most businesses. But using these kind of plan makes it easy to stay visible without turning your content into just chaos. So here's an easy quarterly content structure. Theme 1, right? So you're going to work with 3 themes. Theme 1 could be education. You're teaching something, right? Theme 2, this is your proof and credibility. This is your social proof. Do you have testimonials? Do you have awards that you've won? Theme 3, personality and connection. And I think this is the most important one. This is showing you. Maybe this is behind the scenes. Maybe this is you, giving shout outs to strategic partners, or maybe you're in a business district and you're, celebrating another business, or maybe you're celebrating your team. The formats can be a short post, carousel post, an email. We should all do it monthly. Maybe videos, maybe just a talking head clip. And those talking head clips right now are really what is getting the most engagement. It is important for you to be on the social platforms that your audience is on, because the last thing I want is for you to look like you aren't plugged in, that you're not like, oh, you're doing like posts that was so yesterday. I know it's a lot of work, but you do need to be watching what is out there, and especially watching what your competitors are doing. And that means on the platforms that your audience is on. All right. So your weekly content rhythm could be: week 1, you're going to teach something. Week 2, you're going to show some proof. Again, could be a testimonial, could be a client success story, could be a before and after. Week 3, tell a story. Again, this is not just once upon a time. This is stories about your industry or an experience that you've had, or it's something that you're bringing. Again, you're talking about your business, but this one focus on more of a way that you're telling it. And week 4, that's your call to action. Invite that action. Then you just repeat that for different topics. All right. So what to repurpose? Just like I said, that one bigger idea, that long form content, I a lot of times will start with a blog post or a longer LinkedIn article or a newsletter. It can become a social post, a blog starter, lead magnet, a carousel, a reel or short video, an email intro, or even a webinar teaser. Consistency gets so much easier when you stop inventing from scratch. So what to stop doing? Stop changing the look of what you're doing every week. I've worked with clients that their posting was kind of like all over the place, and we were able to just condense it down, have it look much more on brand. Their stuff looks so much better. Using random trending phrases that don't sound like you. So even though I want you to watch and see what is, going on the social channels, I don't want you to jump on some trend that is not you. But you won't know that until you start really watching. You do have to spend time on the social channels, because it's tempting to jump on a trend, but maybe you can jump on it and have it reflect your brand. And the other thing to stop doing is asking AI for content without context. That means I do want you to drive it. Let it know what your end result that you're looking for is, who your audience is, what you want to get across, and how you want to sound. That's your brand voice. Other thing you stop doing is over designing everything. Done is so much better than, oh yeah, I'll get to it later. It's not quite perfect. Go ahead and post it. And don't try to be on every platform equally. You know where you want to focus, but you will be able to repurpose that to your other platforms where your audience could also be. Does it all have to be perfect? No. I focus on LinkedIn. I repurpose that to Instagram and Facebook. I am not on Twitter. I'm not on TikTok because typically my customers aren't. So until I decide that, oh, look, they're really hanging out here, I don't have to go there. But I said I focus on LinkedIn and then repurpose for the other platforms. Best practices, I think, for 2026. Right now, the strongest approach is not to just use more AI, it's use AI with your brand direction. Keep your source materials organized. This is a big one. Use folders on your desktop. Organize the folders so that you know what's in that folder. And then it helps you use folders and projects in Canva and in ChatGPT. But I have what I call source material folders on my desktop where all of that stuff lives. So it's all together if I need it. I have a place I know that I can go to find it. And then build some repeatable templates in Canva and make your content easy to recognize. And that's with your colors, your fonts, your logos. Repurpose intentionally, just like I was talking about, and keep that human layer absolutely visible. So those recent product updates from both Canva and ChatGPT both point towards more connected, instruction based, that means you giving clear instructions, and brand aware workflows rather than just one off, do this and then settle in and do that, because that's so time consuming. Use the tools to help. It's not automating your workflow, but it's making it more consistent. I'm hesitant to automate content creation because that's where my heart is coming up with that beautiful content or clever email, whatever it is. And if it's automated, I think at least at this point, it still has the tendency to sound and look a little like it's not human. So as I said, everything's changing. But for right now, I definitely want you to layer your human element on anything that you are creating. All right. So for the next 30 days, here's a realistic step-by-step plan. Define your brand voice. Organize your Canva brand assets. If you have the Pro plan in Canva, put it into your brand kit. Build 3 reusable templates. Choose 3 content themes. And then create 4 weeks of content from one central idea. And then review it and edit it so it feels like you. My final takeaway for you is the goal is not for you just to become a content machine or not to have AI spit out your content as a machine. The goal is to become more recognizable. So when your words and your visuals and your messaging start lining up, your brand feels stronger and your marketing feels easier. And your audience starts remembering you on purpose. My closing thought is that in a changing world, your tools, they will keep evolving. Your advantage is not just using them. Your advantage is going to be using them in a way that still looks like you and sounds like you and feels like you. That's the real superpower. So we have a few minutes left. So let me know if anybody wants to post in chat and let me know what type of business that you have, and I'll show you how I do just what we're talking about here. So because I built this in Canva, I can click out. Now I'm still in Canva and I can go to ChatGPT. Now, when I say I built it in Canva, I started with ChatGPT. I said, I want to do a webinar on blah, blah, blah. I need to talk about blah, 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 blah. And I gave it the direction of the things that I thought were important to share with you. And then it made me slides for that, just the text for the slides. Then I took that into Gamma, Gamma app. There's several different Gammas, but it was Gamma app. And it built the structure for this. But then, of course, I had to put my own stuff on it. So I take it into Canva and made additions. And that's when I was like, oh, I like this photo, but I'd like it to be more so it looked like me. Okay, so I'm seeing Jessica's saying she has a gutter company. All right, so for that, so I start in ChatGPT. So first you want to have your brand voice. So I'm just going to very quickly give you an example of what you could do. I want you to give ChatGPT a lot of information. So I'm going to say, give me a sample of a brand voice for a company that does gutters. Let me know, oh, if I could spell what else would be helpful to come up with this. But first, just give me an example. And ChatGPT doesn't care if I spell things right or wrong. Okay, here's a sample brand voice for a gutter company. Reliable, practical, and reassuring with a touch of friendly expertise. I think that's pretty good. This brand voice should make homeowners feel like they're hearing from a knowledgeable pro who understands how important it is to protect their home without sounding overly technical or pushy. Any of you could start like this, but then I said, remember, I said, give me things that would be helpful if you knew. So in practice, this voice sounds protective, straightforward, dependable, friendly, proactive. Example messaging in that voice. Your gutters do more than rainwater. They move rainwater. They help protect your roof, foundation, landscaping, peace of mind. These are great. What would help most to refine this is who they serve. So you're asking it, tell me what I can give you so that you can give me a better answer. And it told us, saying who you serve, their personality, whether they're more premium or budget friendly, whether the brand should sound more local or high end or rugged and professional. Okay, so now Senza said starting a notary business. So I'm going to put, that's great. Now the same thing for a notary business. She is wondering how creativity applies to notary. Wants to keep professional. So let's see what it says. Creativity doesn't mean you have to be like artsy or thinking funny things. Creativity is how to use the tools to make your brand consistent. Let's see what it says. Sample brand voice for notary business. Professional, calm, polished, reassuring with a thoughtful human touch. But remember, I said she's struggling to see how creativity applies to a notary. What creativity looks like for a notary. For notary business, creativity is less about being playful, kind of just what I said, and more about presenting services in a way that feels clear, polished, and client ready. It can show up as making complicated processes feel simple, using warm and confident wording instead of dry, legal-sounding language, creating a brand that feels organized, modern, and trustworthy. The creativity really is in the presentation, the messaging, and the client experience while still protecting that professional image. Kind of just what I said, but very, very clearly. So you had a question. You said, I don't know how creativity applies to notary. I asked ChatGPT that, and it very clearly showed me how creativity applies to that. Okay, let's see. All right, so anybody else with it? Okay, so I see roofing. All right, okay, great. Now one for roofing inspection and installation. Remember, we're kind of asking for what that voice would be and some examples. Sample brand voice for roofing inspections and installation. The brand voice should make property owners feel they're working with experienced professionals who understand both the urgency and investment in roofing. The tone should be trustworthy, informative, helping customers feel confident about the condition of the roof and the quality of the work being recommended. In practice, the voice sounds like expert, reassuring, dependable, straightforward, protective. Example messaging, how creativity applies, what would help refine it. Remember, I'm asking it, what can I give you to make us come up with this brand voice? What would help if I give you? It wants to know residential or commercial? Is it high end or general roofing? Storm damage, family owned? Whether you want to sound more rugged, polished, or luxury focused. The other thing, absolutely, if you are doing this for yourself, and you need to give it as much information as you can. Give it a link to your website. It can scan your website. Give it a link to your social channels. It can scan that too. So it knows what you've been doing. And then you might say, I've been doing this, but I feel disconnected. I need some help, but I want you to analyze what I've been doing. Give it links to your competition so it can see what your competition is doing. Use it as a very smart assistant. Okay, let's see a different, another question here. Natasha's saying, can you share your prompt again, please? Originally, I just asked, give me a sample of a brand voice for a company that does gutters. This was what I first asked. But I also said, let me know what would be helpful to come up with this. But first, just give me an example. So for you, as a prompt, right, you could put in, I want to establish my brand voice. And well, let's just have ChatGPT say that here. Okay, for a company that wants to establish their brand voice, what would be a good prompt to give you to get started? So we're using ChatGPT to come up with a prompt that we can give ChatGPT. It can work like that. A strong starter prompt would be, help me create a brand voice for my company. My business is, type your business. We serve target audience. Our services include whatever it is. We want to sound 3 to 5 adjectives. We do not want to sound 3 to 5 adjectives. Our brand should feel similar to example brands or style references, if any. Our ideal clients care about values, problems, results. Please create a brand voice statement, key tone traits, word phrases we should use. This is great. It's too long for me to copy and put into chat, but I think that I'll do a newsletter about it. So one more reason, sign up for my newsletter. As I said, it's things I'm working on right now. But I'll do a post on social, and I will do a dedicated New Year newsletter to how to write a prompt to create your brand voice. We are out of time. Thank you so much for joining me today. What we're talking about today is happening right now. I am diving into it head first, and I want to be able to share the things that I'm looking at with you. Again, I hope to see you at another SCORE webinar very, very soon. SCORE is the best resource out there for you as your business. If you do not have a SCORE mentor yet, sign up for a free SCORE mentor. I hope to see you at another webinar. Thank you so much. Perfect. Thanks, everybody.